Hello, I'm Pastor Nathan Keith with Trinity Lutheran Church. Another time to think about life in Scripture. My family went for a hike on Mother's Day at Kirk Gowdy to go to Hidden Falls, and we saw this family. And this little boy had this long red stick in front of him with kind of a little disc that was skirting on the ground. And it took me a minute to realize that this child could not see. One of my children pointed it out and said, how amazing that a child who can't see is on this trail. And so he was using his stick back and forth on the trail to feel where he was going. It's a gift to see. It's a gift to see the faces around you and the terrain that was on that trail. And so today I'm thinking about the story when Jesus healed the blind man. And it's an interesting story because this blind man approaches Jesus, and Jesus turns to him and asks him, the blind man, what do you want? Instead of assuming that he wants to be healed of his blindness, Jesus asks him, what do you want from me? And he says, to see. And so Jesus heals him. In another story in our scriptures, Jesus uses mud, right? As Jesus, this physician who uses this earth, and he takes some mud and he spits into this mud and puts it onto this person's eyes. And when he washes away that mud, his eyesight returns. Many of you have the gift of eyesight. But so often when Jesus talks about blindness, he's also talking about spiritual blindness. Jesus often pushed the Pharisees and said how they were spiritually blind. And so I want to thank all the teachers, all the spiritual teachers that I have in my life, that I've had and still have. Because teachers do something unique. They point us to something we can't see. That is the gift of being a part of a faith community for me. All of you who are listening to this video some point in your life, for me, you pointed me to something that I could not see, and that changes my lens. It changes my experience. And during COVID-19, I know many of us have had a different lens offered to us. And so when you look into this world with your eyes, with the lens that you have, I wonder what you see. When you look into this world, what do you see? Do you see anger and despair and sadness, or do you see hope? Have you woken up after a good night's sleep and you look outside and you can't see very far because it's foggy? And sometimes we are like that as human beings, where we look out into the world and all we see is fog that we can't see clearly. Our scriptures, the Apostle Paul said, we look into a mirror dimly, but soon we will see face to face our God. He's talking about those moments in our lives where we look out into this world and we can't see clearly. It's foggy. And we look into the mirror and there's mud on the mirror, and until we wipe that clean, until we can see purely, there we see God, face to face. You know, so often in our lives, we are so concerned by how we see, that so much of our opinions or our thoughts are by what we see or how we perceive to see things. So I invite you this week to spend time looking at the world, not through your lens, but through God's lens. And spend time thinking about what God sees in you and around you. And it's powerful to wonder what God might be looking and seeing upon our own lives. And I pray that God can see hope within you, love within you, compassion within you, so that your week can be full of beautiful new things that you can see.